Hi, my name's Chris Carville. For those of you who don't know me, I've been a parishioner for almost 20 years. My wife Jean is a lifetime parishioner. She's a GA product and a McNick product, which means my 4 kids are GA products and now McNick products. So we've been members, one of us a lifetime, the other one going on over 2 decades. I've gotten to be friends with Brad over the years. He's a great resource to Guardian Angels, and he asked me to give a talk or a 5-minute chat on silence as we lead up to Easter Sunday. I thought that was kind of a counterintuitive request because I'm a bit of a talker, so silence doesn't naturally come to me, but he needed somebody to fill the slot, and I raised my hand, so here we are. When we think about silence, it's become kind of a timely question in light of COVID-19. We're all experiencing a pandemic that those of us short of having a memory of polio don't understand these times. These are new times to us. And it's certainly an Easter season that none of us imagined having. And with the quarantine measures, we all have an opportunity to experience silence. Some of you live alone and are experiencing an unprecedented scale of silence. Some of you are young parents with young families, and you'd give anything for some silence. But at the end of the day, silence can be very unsettling. When I think about silence, I'm struck by the words of a mathematician and Catholic theologian, Blaise Pascal, who said, "All of humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Now, to say that I think about that makes me sound a lot smarter than I am, because it's a bit of a white lie. 2 guys much smarter than me have YouTube videos on silence during this Easter season. The always handsome and insightful Father Schmitz has a YouTube video on Ascension Press, and the always brilliant Bishop Barron has a similar video on Word on Fire, and I invite all of you to track those down because I'm borrowing quite heavily from what both of those learned priests have to say. But Pascal was on to something. Our young families, my family included, at times feel as though they live in a hyper-scheduled world. Our older parishioners may feel, and this is guesswork on my part, not casting aspersions, that they may have fallen into a routine or, God forbid, a rut. And both of those spectrums, either ends of the bell curve, create an opportunity to avoid silence. And what do we find in that silence? Well, Pascal pointed out that it can be unsettling. A man or a woman may have an inability to sit for a period of time, 5 minutes, 15, maybe an hour. Pascal talked in terms of an hour, I believe. Just sit by yourself in your own thoughts. Well, nothing blows up a young person's schedule or an older parishioner's routine like a pandemic. And what are you left with? You're left with silence. And God speaks to us in that silence. Not many of us have the blessing of a Saul moment on the road to Damascus in our lives. But we can all take 15 minutes in the morning to say a rosary, pray a rosary. We can all take that 15 minutes at the end of the day. We can take a chunk of time out of our Thursdays to go to adoration. And in those moments, we're going to find silence. And we're going to find God. Because God invites a conversation in that silence. And without getting into a theological debate about whether God permits a pandemic or God creates a pandemic, that's for brighter minds than mine. The reality, the effect of that pandemic is silence. It's extra time that we wouldn't have had otherwise. The social calendars the slate of social events has been wiped clean. All the sports that our kids are scheduled into, unfortunately, for our seniors, who my heart breaks for, and my 8th graders, who my heart breaks for, They don't have the sports, and they don't have the winding down of those important years in their lives. And we're left with time together, and we're left with time on our own. And that time permits us all to reflect on the crucifixion and what that means in all of our lives, what that event meant in terms of human history. But most of all, on an individual level, it invites time for a conversation. And our Heavenly Father is a patient Father, and He patiently waits for each one of us to have that conversation with Him, and He very, very much looks forward to it. So I'd encourage all of you to make use of silence in this era of a pandemic. God bless you.